The preppers fireside we stay, ready for that fateful day. Stories shared and hearts alight, around the fire every night. Oh, 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 oh.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Preppers Fireside, and we are the dynamic trio tonight of John, the Welsh Prepper. Hi. Very vocal John today. Calm down. And Brian, the Scottish Prepper. How you doing, Brian? Oh, great. Excellent.
I'm just fucking me. It's working fine.
I'm the English Prepper. We need an Irish Prepper, and we've got the whole British Isles covered. Anyway, tonight is your Preppers Fireside. It's a Q&A. It's one of our favorites to do because we get to answer all your little questions, whether it's something super simple that you don't know, like how do I do this certain thing, or whether it's something more profound like Phil usually comes out with. It doesn't matter. It's your chance to get your questions in, and it's super appreciated. And it goes as long as you guys are interacting. So no questions, no stream. Goodbye. That's not an incentive to send no questions. So we will start, though, with an absolutely awesome super chat. Before we've even gone live, thank you, Rockstar Chef Dora. You're absolutely superb. One of our lovely friends from across the pond says, happy Sunday, preppers. What do you all think will be the reason for SHTF and we use our preps? I suppose we have to think of this in the current sense, right now. What do we think is most likely? So, Brian, I'll start with you because I think I already know your answer, but carry on. Grit down.
Well, the thing is, and I know I tend to be a one-trick pony, as I was told once before. I always bang on about electricity, but it literally is the lifeblood of modern society. And if you look at every conflict in the last 30 years, the first thing they take out is infrastructure. So power, water, heating, they're the first things to get zapped. So whether it's by a cyber attack or lack of investment or poor maintenance or physically being blown up, it doesn't matter to us. It makes not a jot of difference. The results will be the same. But being that as it's said, we've got a little conflict going to kick off in the Middle East almost certainly, because the little orange man's put all these toys out and he's not going to take them out without playing with them in one shape or form. And that could then involve the Iranians using proxies, cyber attacks. You know, the world's our oyster. We've no idea what way it's going to go. That could be a potential issue in the very near future.
Yeah, and let's be fair, it could also go the potential way of a very precise, intricate operation, and there's no backlash. It can go either way. We just would prefer to prepare for the worst.
Absolutely.
John, same question that was from Rockstar Chef Dora there. What's the reason you think we'll be using our preps?
I'll give the viewers what they want. I won't say national power outage because that's the most likely, but I think there is a risk. It's a small risk that if Iran does feel that it's an existential threat, that they are getting bombed in one way or the other. Whether it's a prearranged, you bomb us a bit and we'll send a missile towards you, but give you 12 hours notice and we'll claim victory type event, or whether it's a greatest Star Wars event since Gulf War II. If they feel that something isn't going their way and they decide to launch in all directions, which they said they have, that could draw in China, could draw in what's left of the Russian forces. So they could go cyber attack, they could go kinetic, they could go Strait of Hormuz, close the Straits of Hormuz. In which case a barrel of oil would double overnight. And then that you're not leading to economic collapse, but it leads to shortages in the shops. And we know what happens when people think the toilet roll is going to run out. they will start fighting each other for it. So I think that would be a realistic scenario for us having to use our preps, is if the food supply chain is disrupted by what's happening in the Middle East. Everyone's really happy with that answer, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. Rockstar Chef says, I agree. Thanks, Brian. Power for sure and water cut off. Bruce said, I had to leave and rejoin to get sound and picture. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's sorted now for you. Anyone that does ask a question, I will try and not miss it, highlight it, put it in capitals. Make sure you use a question mark and it puts a little mark on it for me. And you've got the super chat option. If you ask a question, don't have to repeat it. I'm not ignoring you. We're going to work through them as they've come in. I'll give an answer as well. You know, why not? Something different is probably my most likely I see, without like some sort of event happening, like we talk about the power grid going down, without the war escalating to a point it drags everybody in. Just in general, I see civil unrest in this country, because we already see civil unrest in this country, and I see that getting dramatically worse. Now, we're not going to get political, but no matter which side of politics you land on, come the next election, be that this year, next year, or when it's supposed to be in three or 4 years' time kind of thing, whichever way that goes, there's going to be a disgruntled side, because it's either going to go further left or it's going to go a lot further right. So either way, I think we're going to see a lot of civil unrest that comes off the back of that. And yeah, the next election is going to be an absolute S show, to say the least. So mine's prepping for civil unrest. I'm in an urban area. I'm in a center where we've seen civil unrest only just this weekend as well. So it's a regular occurrence now. It's just not spreading. So that's probably the most likely I see for using my preps. And it's why I'm prepping differently to what I used to now. So hope that answers your question, Dora. Thank you, Bruce Hockley. You became a YouTube member. I'm not sure if that's mine or yours, Brian, but either way.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, so now let's get into the Phil questions. Phil.
Oh, no.
A shame, with loads of questions, as he always does. And it's probably kind of similar to the last question. Because if that's the thing you think's going to be wrong, what's your focus? So he says, howdy, what is your current prep focus? John?
My current prep focus is unleaded petrol. I emptied all of my 20-litre jerry cans, Green Army type jerry cans, and my 10-litre plastic ones and my 5-litre plastic ones, because I'm moving soon. So I wanted to take them empty, but I've started filling them up again, because, as I just said, if the Straits of Hormuz get shut down, price of oil will double overnight. That will feed through to the pumps in about 4 or 5 days.
If you're lucky, some of them will jack the price up straight away.
Some supermarkets will just put the price up and exploit it, profiteer. So I don't want to be sat in an 18-hour queue trying to get petrol, because that's happened in my lifetime. Happened in the 70s. I was alive just about. I was sort of 7 or 8, I think, when it happened in the 70s.
17.
It happened in the late 2000s when we had the logistics problems, right? And the petrol started running out of fuel.
Not quite as bad. Yeah, but there certainly were queues. And I think it happened. Didn't it happen just around COVID time? Was it due to COVID or something? There were queues. But
was it about 2008 as well? Round about then, they blocked the refineries. And then the tractors as well.
Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. The garage down the road from me.
Tanker drivers went on strike.
Yeah, I'll say this as diplomatically as possible. The garage down the road from me put a sign up excluding an ethnic group from using their garage. Basically said no W's. And yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, just on that subject, Willow Trees just put a comment about Grangemouth changing roles. I can tell you all about that. It used to be a full-on oil refinery. It had crackers, what they called cracker towers, bringing crude oil literally out of the ground, and it would refine it into all the different petrochemical products you can get. It's now being turned into a pure import terminal. So they're importing the refined product into Grangemouth and then distributing it from there. So yeah, it has closed down as an oil refinery.
Okay, there you go.
dismantling our infrastructure one step at a time. We don't need anybody to do it for us.
Yeah, slowly putting ourselves in the shit show. Brian, what's your current prep focus?
Just adding a little bit more of everything. At the moment, I'm halfway through fitting a secondary heating system. So if it stays dry long enough, I'll actually finish it. So that'll give me backup heating should the grid go down and I don't want to run a heat pump. I will have a diesel heater plumbed in through an 80mm hole in the wall, and I can run that off a power bank if need be. So yeah, that's an ongoing project, and the rest of it's just adding long life food and just more things, and a generator this year, a new generator.
Yeah. For me, I think I've stocked as much as I can, cans wise, bar using a couple and replacing a couple in the usual kind of cycle. But as for buying extra, I think I'm done with that. I've bucketed up all my stuff that was in grain barrels. I've got extra water collection, so I'm happy with all of that. Same as Brian, I'd like to go down the freeze-dried route. I'm trying to jump through loops to find budget ways of doing that. So wait and see, hold that space for that. But I am looking at more bug out now, so it's having to change a lot of my plans, because if it really hit the fan, there's a lot of stuff behind me that would be left behind. So I really need to start honing stuff down and really fine-tuning my preps. I don't need 30 different knives, so I'll start to get rid of some of them. I don't need 4 sets of webbing, so I'll start to get rid of some of them. So it's kind of like it's great because I'm selling stuff and it helps towards my main focus, which is getting a new vehicle. But it's also helping me fine-tune things. So that's kind of my focus, fine-tuning it. Thank you, Phil. Oh, I think I just unstarred one of his questions from before. Oh, no. Where's that gone? 2 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves.
No, we're just going to have awkward silences.
Awkward sciences. There we go. Do you see China/Afghanistan stepping in to actively support Iran if it gets bombed? Not without, personally, for me, not without some sort of direct event affecting them. They're not just going to come to the rescue, because that would be throwing themselves in front of a very large bullet and making themselves a very large target. However, if war spilled over onto them through missiles, through attacks, through anything like that, then potentially. Either of you want to add anything to that answer?
China has been prepping for the last 20 years and ramped up in the last 5 years. They now have a blue water navy, which they never had. They have extended their logistic chains by creating artificial reefs and islands. So their aerial denial footprint is a lot larger than it used to be. They are also more willing to publicly and actively block other militaries carrying out their freedom of navigation exercises. Their Coast Guard and trawlers are very active in other people's backyards. They're getting to the point it's take a dump or get off the potty. And I think they're really only waiting on a distraction of enough size that they feel ties up the US. Now, we've got an ongoing conflict in Europe that is draining the munitions of most of the West and their factories and their stockpiles, and has done for 5 years. So they've been using up stock. If you then had a large conflict in the Middle East, I'm not talking about like a few months ago kicking over a few cans and whacking down the air defense systems and dropping some bombs in bunkers. If the US suffered losses, actually ships and people, God forbid, lose their lives, then it would be a lot more than bombs. It might involve people on the ground. And if that happened, it would give China an avenue and a window of opportunity to take Taiwan. Because let's be honest, once they're actually on the ground, it'd be very hard to dig them out.
Yeah, I see that as any excuse they can to activate their plan on Taiwan, because they know they want to do it, they're going to do it at some point. Then they'll take that opportunity. Whether it's directly defending Iran in any way, I don't see that. So, big shout out to Mike Tango Whiskey. He likes the awkward sciences comment. Anyone that doesn't know, Mike Tango Whiskey has an awesome channel as well on YouTube.
He does.
He's one of our friends from across the pond, an absolute great, down to earth American prepper. So go and check his channel out and subscribe to his stuff. You won't be disappointed in that. And another big shout out to Dora, who has Rockstar Chef Dora, who's put another $9.99 super chat in, this time on your side, Brian.
Thank you so
sharing
much.
the prepper love, guys. So there you go. She's sharing it out. John, you can have this. What do you think of Starmer saying no to Trump using UK bases to bomb Iran?
Well, that's actually a very good question, Phil. I think Starmer's trying to say to Trump, we're your ally, but we don't really support what you're doing in Iran. There's other ways of doing it. Starmer will obviously have accurate high-level intelligence that we just will never get to see. So he will know whether Iran has a nuclear bomb or not. And I think he's subtly trying to say to Trump, we don't really agree with what you're doing, but we can't say that out loud. So I think it's a diplomatic sort of slap on the wrist for Trump. That's my opinion.
Okay. Anything to add, Brian?
I think they're being slightly disingenuous with what they're saying. The chances of the US launching military aircraft with munitions on them from the UK isn't really the question. They'll only use them for force projection. So it'll be like intelligence birds, tanker aircraft, ferrying from the States to here to the Middle East. The munitions will be on cargo aircraft getting dropped off here and then going on. They don't need to launch the raids from here. They just need to use us as a forward operating base to move munitions, personnel, etc. further along. So we're only a logistics hub. We're not. Starmer can say that and win brownie points, knowing that it's meaningless, because ultimately we're only a logistics hub.
Yeah, we're American. We are classically Americans' giant aircraft carrier, right?
The unsinkable aircraft carrier.
Yeah, that's it.
Also, Priti Patel is in Washington at the moment saying she wants to torpedo, no pun intended, the Chagos Islands deal, Diego Garcia. So I wonder whether it's tied into that as well, that because he's not letting them use Diego Garcia directly, as Brian says. But yeah, there's a lot of aircraft go through the UK bases.
Yeah,
as Brian quite accurately says.
Yep. Cheers, Phil. Last one from Phil, 3 in a row. If you talk about prepping and people acknowledge the difficulties around like war, floods, etc., what do you think makes them not prepare? Normalcy bias is pants. You've hit the nail on the head. You've answered your own question. As far as I'm concerned, with that normalcy bias, right? Brian, the government's going to come and save us, right?
Yeah. Yes, they really are, aren't they? I think we are largely
John's going to come and save us. It's John.
We are a pampered service society. We order things today, we'll get it tomorrow, and it's demand led. We don't understand the concept of no, and we've got no patience to wait. We've never had true hardship in generations. We've never had to grow our own food. For the most part, there is people in dire straits around the world, but generally in the West, Europe, America, etc., most of the population order just in time, get it the next day. Our demands are met and our demands grow. So we don't understand the concept of wait or it'll never happen. So we don't see any risk because we've never had anything bad happen. Somebody's always been there to wipe our tailpipe. There's always going to be somebody else's job to do it. If anything goes wrong, somebody should fix it. Somebody else. It's never us. And I think that's going to bite a lot of people hard on the ass when something really goes wrong.
Yeah. John, is it just normalcy bias? Should we just sit back happily and use our money for non-prepping stuff and trust in the government to come save us?
Yeah, I study this as part of my job, and I look at countries like Switzerland, Norway, Sweden. It's a cultural thing as well as just learned experience. Culturally, the UK, if you're unemployed, the government will give you money to help you out, and that's not a bad thing. It's not criticism; it's just the reality. If you break your ankle, you go to hospital, and the surgeon fixes it the same day. If you have a crash, an ambulance turns up and gives you first aid, and the police clear the road for you, and the fireman might come and cut you out of your car if you've had something. Someone always turns up to help you, whatever dire situation you find yourself in the UK.
Even mountain rescue, like if you're in the most extreme,
and Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, yeah.
So we are in a situation. Our lifestyle, our culture is that someone else will come and solve your problem for you. It's to be expected that people think the government's coming. Unfortunately, they're not. There's not big hangers of people in their green overalls and backpacks waiting to be deployed when it goes horribly wrong. It just doesn't exist. So it's going to be a massive shock.
And more to the reason why the government should be getting the UK more resilient, because we've lost our resilience.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Phil. Really always appreciate your input into these. Superb. Stuart Inwood says, what preps have you bought that you use daily / weekly? Toilet paper. John?
Preps I use weekly candles. My other half, Mrs. Welsh Prepper, likes to have some candles on in the evening. So when they get burnt down and you just got the waste wax, I'll collect it and I'll just buy the wicks, the wicks only off Amazon. You can get 100 for £2.50. And I'll remake the candles. I also make my own firelighters out of sawdust and spare wax for the open fire. So yeah, I use those weekly, and I make them maybe once a month.
Open fire! Look at him, proper prepper over here. Had to get it in there, didn't he? Brian, what preps that you've bought do you use daily / weekly, if any?
Daily / weekly would be power banks. Believe it or not, I will rotate the smaller Anchor C300 behind me. I've got a few of those. One of them I used to keep the battery in the van topped up. I've got a battery charger sits there. I just plug that in and swap them out every week. I also use the other power banks in here to run the shed, and I rotate them round so that not one single power bank's taking a load all the time and getting through its cycles. So yeah, generally I use all the power banks that I've got to try and keep them working and make use of them.
Excellent. I've been using mine quite regular to run them down and charge them up, believe it or not, recently. It's
Your wife charges them for you, doesn't she? Tell the truth. Come on.
No, do you know the charger thing I spoke to you about? And it's got to be a certain power.
Yes. Did you get one
off the mains? Well, it turns out the MacBook from work works perfectly.
Yeah, it's just a PD charger anyway.
Yeah. So I do that. For me, on this one is my water filter, my gravity water filter. It was like bought as a prep, and then like once Mrs. Urban Prepper kind of used it, she's like, "Oh, I really like the water through that. You do taste the difference." So we use that really regular, fill that, and it comes through that. And the other one is food. Is genuinely, I'm not just somebody who's put the food away. We eat everything in there. You know, when the kids come round, like one meal at least at the weekend, I open the cupboard and say, you have to pick something from there because it's getting them used to that kind of eating. And I just use stuff from there regular, because don't stock and prep the stuff you don't eat on a regular basis. So yeah, that would be my two. It's a good question, Stuart. Thank you.
Yep.
Question to Brian. Just a running cycle on an MGC 300. Do I take it right down to 0, then recharge to 80%?
No, fully charge it and then run it down a little if you need to, but only if you're going to be storing it. If you're going to be using it, I mean, here's the thing: people get hung up on it a lot. The main thing not to do is buy it, never use it, and stick it in a box. One, it'll let you down. Two, the the battery tends to learn the cycles, right? So use it. If you're going to store it for any length of time, run it flat, charge it fully, then store it 80%. As a rule, you generally don't want to be overly harsh on the batteries by running them totally flat all the time and charging them fully all the time. It's detrimental to their charging cycle, as in for longevity. However, it's not a huge amount. It's just good practice. If you're going to store it for any length of time, run it down, charge it, store it 80%, stick it in a box. But please consider using it more often than that, because that's what they're built for. They've got thousands and thousands of cycles there. You've got like 3,000 cycles in that, roughly 10 years, and it will still have 80% capacity. So you're not going to kill it.
Yeah, no time soon. That's an opinion. No disclaimer. If you kill it, that's your on you. Purple Ale said, "Is it just me with no sound?" Yes, I hope so. Otherwise, we've been talking for 25 minutes answering these questions.
And she can't hear our answer anyway.
And Mr. Wilderby said, "How long do you?"
That's a personal question. You know, it depends how cold it is outside.
8 minutes, 36 seconds.
I see, John. Time for a cigarette afterwards. You'll have to give us a bit more for that question, please. Some context. In what way is Mike prepping differently?
So many answers.
I think that's going back to you focusing on bug out and not bug in.
I'm prepping differently because I'm in a completely different location. I've gone from semi-urban to fully urban to in a threat zone, as what I would call it. So it's gone from having to be extra secure and perimeter and stuff like that to it's just not a viable option to stay here long term in SHTF. So that's how I'm prepping differently. My other way of prepping differently, which I'm going to be doing over this year, which I've always done, but I've never really shown it as much, is looking at historical prepping and with some realistic historical preps and stuff like that, and how we learn from people from the past and how we can use that in the future. So yeah, that's the other thing. So hope that answers that, Miss Worm. Metalhead Doc, another one of our awesome friends from across the pond, says, "How long after the best buy date do you throw away your canned food?" Sorry. Throw away my canned food?
I've never thrown away canned food. No need to.
No, I don't throw away canned food. Brian.
Unless it's clearly damaged.
Yeah, that's my answer. Basically, if the tin's not compromised in any sort of way, if it's been stored correctly, they've done studies where they've opened stuff that's 30, 40 years old, and carrots lost about 13% of the color, about 12% of the nutrition, stuff like that, but they were still edible. Think it's the same as like anything, like medication. It lowers the effect, so it might not be as nutritious, but it'll still
potency.
Potency, yeah, there you go.
That's not medical advice, though.
You are?
That's not medical advice.
Big words.
No, we don't do medical advice. Everything's an opinion. Brian, you looked in shame. Tell us about you throwing away canned food.
I threw away about 8 carrier bags last month of food. What I would say is, first and foremost, it depends, like you said, entirely how it's stored. So in here, it's temperature controlled with its own dehumidifier, its own air conditioning. It's kept at a perfect temperature for long-term food storage.
Mm-hmm.
I would be comfortable by anything in here leaving it at least 2 to 5 years past its sell-by date, and then doing the normal visual checks for bulging in the cans, sniff test, taste test, heat it up properly. But I don't need to let my stores get that long. I'll keep them till they're about a year out of date, maximum. And then if I don't use them, I bin them. And the reason for that is it's so that I'm storing the longest possible shelf life of food. I would much rather throw out some tins that I've never eaten and store something with a longer shelf life than if something goes wrong, I've got tins here that are already 2 or 3 years out of date. So I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, and it's wasteful of money, but it's my money. So that's what I choose to do.
Yeah.
So
You'll
is
get all,
it-
you
is
get
it-
all. They should have given them to a food bank.
So is it
You can't give it out
limitation?
of date. Sorry, John.
Is it limited storage space that is the issue, or just you want to keep the longest date
Longest out.
possible? Okay.
Yeah, I changed a lot of the things that I stored as well.
Yeah, because you
I'm
got rid of the
actively-
free bentos, didn't you?
Yeah, got rid of all of them. I used to have 30, 40 tins of those. I've changed what I stock slightly. I've added more of some, taken away entirely others. I don't routinely rotate a lot of the things in here into our pantry. You should, but I don't. I store what I can eat, and I store what will keep longest, and I'll keep it a year past its sell by date.
Shell.
Shell. And after that, it goes in the bin. And I would rather stock newer kit. And
Yeah,
it's purely
I-
something goes wrong.
I understand that, and I will do a gradual transition as I get more freeze dried stuff. I think because I'll need the cupboard space, right? But I think I'll eat it rather than throw it. I do go through a lot of my preps, so there's very few things that I don't eat that I stock. So, yeah, the answer to the question is don't throw it away unless you've got that luxury to do so or to upgrade, etc. I suppose is the best way. By the way, Mark, Sofa Survivalist, I'm seeing all your questions in the chat. We will get to them. I'm not ignoring you. I'm seeing your very relevant questions. Thank you. Anyone use super unleaded in generators? I keep a stock for my classic car and don't see why I couldn't use it for a Jenny too. I'm not a generator person. I don't have generators.
I've
Any
not.
of you guys? You've not? No.
I
Well,
have a
you
Jenny.
could,
I've
right?
not used it though because I've no need to stock it. I think it's just the level of cleaning additive that's in the unleaded, isn't it, that makes it super unleaded?
Super unleadeds generally get a higher octane ratio. So
okay.
basically more bang. It'll be fine.
So should probably avoid it if it's got more bang.
If
right?
anything,
Yeah.
it'll run better. Right?
Yeah.
It'll run a bit more efficiently because it's got more bang for the buck.
There you go. There's your answer. Cheers, Bruce. Cheers, Bruce. I don't want to. I have to say Bruce in an Australian accent. It's the only way to say Bruce. Suburban Preppers has a question for Brian. Was the diesel heater hard to install to your house?
Not if you've got the tools, no. So, and depending how you want to do it. The all-in-one units that come with the little handles. Actually, see if you get 2 seconds, Mike, I'll show people in case they've never seen one. That's all right.
I'm interested.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
It's literally right there.
We'll have some elevator music while you get
Fuck. Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Oh dear, you mean.
Red for danger.
So-
Danger.
This is what they would call an all-in-one unit, which has got inside here the burn chamber, little controller, heater outlet. On the bottom, you've got exhaust inlet. The problem is, some people will fit these in the house like this,
Mm-hmm.
and look what's underneath it. Your exhaust comes out. You do not want the exhaust if you can physically avoid it in the house.
Even if you pipe that outside, because the potential for leaks, right?
Yeah, because the connection point is still going to be inside the house. Now, you could argue that if the combustion chamber started to leak on the heater unit itself, you're going to have the same problem, right? The easiest solution to this altogether is put this outside in a cupboard, which is what I've done. So I put an 80mm hole through double brick walls in the house and fitted a 80mm 3mm thick aluminium tube to go all the way through. Then the swivel duct on the inside, and then it'll go from 90mm on that side to 75, and that'll give me enough room between the pipe going through the aluminium that I'm going to minimise any condensation. But also, if you can, angle it slightly so that if you do get any condensate build up inside that pipe or whatever you choose to line it with, it tends to drip down out the house and not into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically that simple. And then this will run off a 240 volt power supply rather than a 12 volt supply. So it'll be 230 going to 12 volt. So I can run it off a power bank, either off the AC side, or if it's got enough amps, which most of the EcoFlows don't, you could run it direct off that. So, yeah, short answer, no, it's not difficult, but that's in case anybody wants to know, that's what they are.
There you go.
And,
Thank you very much.
can I just assume you're putting that into a smallish downstairs room?
It's going into the living room, mate.
Into the living room, not right, normal room.
Yeah, straight into the living room. So that, our living room, the staircase is just off it. So basically the heat will come in low level at the floor level. You can adjust the duct and rotate it round to direct it within the room. And if the power had went out for any great reason, I can run that heater, leave all the doors open upstairs, and just let the heat flood the house. That's an 8 kilowatt heater, so that'll do our house fine.
Mm-hmm. How long can you run that with the tank? Because it's quite a small fuel tank on it.
You'll get about a day, depending on how high you've got it set on one tank. And you can run them on
a day at constant, though. That is.
Yeah. Or if you wanted to.
5 litres?
2 seconds. It's probably easier to show you.
Yeah.
In fact, this is going to be a pain in the arse doing it with one hand.
I think it's about a 5 litre tank. I've seen them on there.
You can get bigger ones.
Yeah.
Now I've fitted 5 of these, most of them in camper vans and things. And with changing a few things, I've run one in my camper van for 4 years, and it cost me 60 quid to buy it. Don't even buy glow plugs for them or the service kit. Just keep a spare one, right? And if it breaks down for any reason, just swap it out.
Yeah.
An Eberspacher, one of those, would be about 1,200 quid. You could replace that about 13, 14 times before you bought the original.
Yeah. It's one of those, and everyone that breaks down creates a stockpile of spare parts, right? Technically, so
yeah. And they're easy enough to fix. Sorry,
for the question, Suburban Preppers. Anyone who doesn't know Suburban Preppers also has a YouTube channel, so go and check him out as well on his YouTube channel. Him and his missus do videos, some great budget shopping on prepping. People that are new to prepping, it's a great channel to go and check out. So make sure you do that. 200 people in here at the moment, which is great. Whichever stream you're watching on, whether it's on Brian's channel or on mine, make sure you hit the like button and you're subscribed. It's really appreciated, and it's all we ever ask for. Everything else is a bonus. Purple Ale, what is your best new prep last year, and what do you hope will be your best new prep this year? Okay. John, do you want to go?
Yeah, my best prep last year, I invested in a FRE P210 power bank, and I love it. It runs my washing machine. 40% of it's used up running my dishwasher, 35% washing machine. I got 4 100-watt solar panels on the shed, and it charges it up with no problem at all. I've actually bought a smaller power bank this year to charge off it, and that's going to sit in my my Faraday cage. But yeah, that was my last year. Next year, genuinely looking at getting some sort of diesel heater. So that's why I had so many questions for you then, Brian. So yeah, that's my next one.
Cool. Brian?
Any questions, let us know. And if you're stuck, I can send you some of the bits to drill the holes through the wall if you want.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. There you go. Brian, your best new one last year and new one to come?
The best new...
come, obviously, we know.
I wish. It's not me you have to convince. My wife's probably watching this. It's her you need to convince. If you can get her to allow me to spend $4,000 on I mean, in her way of thinking, that's Florida money. That's her not going to Disneyland. So if you can equate that to a freeze dryer.
Mrs. Scottish Prepper, if he gets the freeze dryer, he can never say no to Florida again, ever, like years to come. Just throwing
I've never said no before.
Shut the fuck up, you're not helping your own case. Right, go.
Last year's best prep was doubling the solar panels on the house, doubling the size of the inverter in the house, and doubling the battery capacity in the house. Then 2 months later, we pretty much trebled the number of power banks as well in terms of capacity. So I'm not happy about a grid down, but I'm more comfortable that we could cope with the after effects of a limited power problem.
Yeah. So what's that equate to going forward? What's the next one?
Not this March, but the following March, I'm going to run I'll put a parallel. I can't even speak tonight. Jesus Christ. A parallel 6 kilowatt inverter in. The batteries that are there are coming out. They'll come into here and we'll put in 64 kilowatt hours of Fogstar. And then I'll put a sort of pergola arrangement in the back garden and hopefully fit 4 kilowatts of solar on that. And that'll be me done with solar because I don't have any more room.
Cool. My last one was actually an awesome gift from somebody from the channel, which I'm just going to put a link in anyway. It's the Anker Solix C300. Got 2 of them, and the one that came with the foldable solar panel, which I know we say, you know, the static ones are better if you've got the room for them. With my current plan and situation, if I can throw it in the car, it's better. So
they're perfect for you.
Yeah. And when I tested it in the 48-hour blackout, which I actually did, it was more than enough. It was superb. It was more efficient than I ever expected it to be. Charging phones, charging microphones for the videos, having it as a light, as a reading light, everything about it. I only used one of them, didn't need to use both, and it was so efficient. It was unreal. So that was the best one for now. Going forward, I'm not looking at any new preps apart from a vehicle upgrade, which I'm going to be aiming towards. So I really don't know beyond that at the moment. But thank you for the question. Awesome question. Big thank you to TAC Group for a £1.49 super sticker. That'll go in the swear box for Brian's blaspheming during that last answer, so we apologize to him about that. And Whiskey Jack J is a £5 super chat, says, if collapse is gradual instead of sudden, how do you avoid burning through resources preparing for the wrong timeline? Ooh, good question, because a lot of preppers think of this bang CME event, EMP event, stuff like that, but as cost of living affects us in the UK and things like that, more and more people are turning to the preps. It's not just me that has had weeks before payday where I've had to just eat what's in the prep cupboard. Many people I speak to are in the same sort of boat. So yeah, it's a great question. John, what do you think of that one? How do you avoid burning through resources preparing for the wrong timeline if it's a slow burn and not like a big bang?
Yeah, I think the gradual downward trend has already started. I think it started about 3 or 4 years ago. For about 7-8 years now, I've been at the same rate it's declining. I've been increasing my skills. So I've raised a few animals, and you saw the other month it had lambs on a croft husbandry, animal husbandry. Also, growing your own food, it's got to be a must. Because then, at least if you know how to do it, you can, and you don't, and then you stop like I have, you can pick it up again quickly. But just skills, learning to fish, just something that doesn't mean you have to keep the resource in your house, but you can gather the resource when you need to. So say, for example, food prices suddenly go up, you know where you can go fishing to get a fish for your supper, stuff like that. Skills.
Yeah. What about you, Brian? When you sat there thinking about them 3 carrier bags of food you shouldn't have thrown away,
my conscience is clear. I replaced them the same day. It's all good.
So you openly admit, Brian, that you've got not got green fingers in any way, shape, or form, and could probably
not at all
a plastic plant. So what about this for yourself then? If it's gradual, how do you prepare for a longer timeline, or if you've prepped for something sudden?
I think I agree with John's first part there. That not that I disagree with any of it. We're in a decline. The whole of Western society is headed for grid failure, financial collapse, warfare and social disorder. Take your pick which happens first, but something's coming. Something's coming. I just don't know which one will happen first. But we're
and
very
that's not
much.
That's not you being alarmist, Brian. That's not.
No, not at all. No, I'm an engineer by profession. I deal in, practicalities on a daily basis. My job, funny enough, is to predict how long something will last before it fails. I do it every day. I genuinely believe we are headed for something.
That very well with your power bank you lent me at the Scottish meet.
And yet it still worked. No, I genuinely believe we're in the boiling frog analogy, and something's coming down the line. So I, as a rule, don't run through my preps anyway. And we have done in the past, but I generally don't. How do you avoid burning through your resources? It's difficult, because if the time comes that you have to dip into your preps, here's the thing. You've got to dip into your preps, because you might be saving them for the rainy day that never comes. If you need to use your preps then and there for whatever emergency is an emergency for you, that is your rainy day. You worry about the next rainy day when you get through that one, right?
Yeah.
You can only do one thing at a time,
And that's probably pretty much my answer for that as well. I mean, I've openly said on the Discord and stuff, like, I'm having to use my preps this week. This is what I'm eating. It's not any sort of woe is me sympathy thing. It's kind of just to prove the point that prepping works. I've done shorts in the past when the heating had gone off and I had 2 days without heating, and how I've coped with that. And it's nothing to do with sympathy vote. It's to do with showing you why we prep. With regards to a longer timeline, I love John's answer. Skills are the key. I'm looking at growing my own food. That's all starting as the weather starts to improve. I'm starting to get into that, and longevity. But for me, this is just a constant risk assessment. So it might, if it's a gradual collapse, which we're technically in, I think Dan from startprepping.co.uk called it the crumblies, remember, in one of our very early firesides, Brian?
Yeah.
And we're seeing it around us now. Now, it's a constant risk assessment, right? So something happens today, the power goes out for a couple of days, comes back on, and the power goes out for a few more days and comes back on. I might be dipping into preps and supplies, but I might still be able to replenish them. But it's a constant assessment. Like, I'll be thinking, right, I can eat normally, or actually I might have to cut back and eat a bit less. I might have to ration, and so on and so forth. And it's a constant risk assessment. There's no way of doing it until you're in it. But yeah, it is just constant awareness, and don't take anything for granted. Don't think it's going to come back on in 3 days, because that's what happened last time. So, see,
on the skills front, I don't disagree with either of you. What I would say is, skills without gear are worthless, and gear without skills are equally worthless. You've got to have the healthy mix of both. You could be a fantastic craftsman. If you don't have any tools or kit, it's worthless. So you need both.
One of the earliest preps I got that was beyond just a pantry of food and water, because that's what you should start with no matter what, was going to places like Bygone Times and flea markets and picking up hand tools, hand saws, hand drills, manual crank drills, stuff like that. I've done joinery in the past. I'm by no means an amazing joiner or woodworker. It's been a long time since I've done it. But if I had to board something up, if I had to knock together a shelf, if I had to knock together a crate, anything like that, then I've got the stuff there to do it. So yeah, it's a great point. Right, where's that gone? There's something.
Are you seeing the questions coming through on this side as well, Mike?
I see both sets. Yeah, I am working from the top down.
No, you're all good.
I'm working in the order they came in, guys. So I'll try not to miss any. Banned again. Anyone use terracotta flower pots for water filtering?
Nope.
Can't say I have. No. I've been experimenting with the terracotta flower pots to make a heater using candles, with not really the results that people say you get from them so far. So I'm still experimenting with that. But no, but I'm going to keep that comment starred, banned again, and I'm going to look into it. So thank you for that. It sounds interesting. Always up for alternate ways. Top Yorkshire man, he says, would you store water now or just fill the water tanks when we are told to? How long does stored water last? Anything I say now, somebody will change or critique because there's millions of schools of thoughts. Oh, plastics, microplastics, blah blah blah. All of this. You can store it for so long. You can't store it for so long. Do you really care in a year's time if you need water and it's been stored for a while? You're going to drink it either way. For me, all of the above, right? So I store water, as in bottled water. I have plastic bottles of water. I have glass bottles of water. I don't have massive storage for water, so it's not great. I don't like have huge containers and stuff. I've got 2 barrels outside, which I just put on a short the other day, which are now extra water collection and a water butt. After that, if something happens, I'll fill the bath. I'll fill containers and stuff like that. It's contingency upon contingency. And last resort, know where your water sources are and have a way to filter them. Water storage for you, John?
Yeah, I got loads. I live in Wales for a start, so water is not an issue. But I have one.
It falls from the sky as if by magic.
I have 4 water butts. I have I got a brand new brown bin, garden bin, whatever that gallon that is, 260 gallons or something. I turned into a water butt. And I've also, when you go to B&Q, you get the orange buckets for £1. So every time I go to B&Q, I buy 1 orange bucket for £1. I've now got about 20 of them. They just sit inside the shed door. If I needed to, I'd just put them out in a 5x5 and I'd catch rainwater. But I do also have bottled water, and also I have the means to filter that water because I know it's not clean. If I had to, I'd drink it, but I don't need to. I don't need to drink it in its raw state. So I have a Berkey filter, and I have all the little soy filters and that sort of thing.
Excellent. Great advice on a frugal way of prepping there as well. Just the fact you can pick up a bucket for £1 every time you're in there for something else soon adds up to 20 buckets.
Yep.
It's a thing that you can stock in abundance as long as you've got the square footage for one. The rest are fine because they stack in on each other. It's a great addition. Yeah, you won't miss a quid each time you go, and it could be all the difference.
And also plastic sheet or cheap tarp setup.
Yeah.
You can then funnel it into a bucket.
Yep. Yeah. You can. Well, I might do a video on the washing line setting that up just at some point. Just for people that don't know. Brian, water.
I'll answer the first part of that first, though. Would you wait until you were told to do so? I would not trust the government at any point to look after my well-being or tell me the truth in sufficient time to look after me and my family, because I've done an awful job for the last 20 years at least that I can't trust them to do it in a timely fashion. So
look what's just happened down south.
Yep.
And people didn't get any warning.
Nope. By the time the warning comes, it's already hours too late for you to do anything about it 9 times out of 10. So you should always have some water and some means of water purification. Your domestic situation will dictate what you can store. But everybody's got a bed, right? And if you haven't got enough space somewhere, stick some bottles under your bed. You'll always find a corner to put some water. And water filtration has come down so much in price. We could talk all night on water filtration and water collection on its own and the reasons why and what you should do. But don't trust anybody to tell you when to get it. Get it now. And if some way to filter it, now. And once this video's over, go and look up on rainwater collection as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's my answer.
And as you saw in Mike's video, the first thing to do is to fill your bath if the power goes out.
Yeah. You can always pull the plug out and let it out again, all right? So it's better to have it. How long does water last, though, Brian? When does the water go off?
Depends how it's stored, for a start. If you've got water in a see-through container outside, you're going to have algae bloom, right? So how it's stored...
It's never hurt anyone.
How it's stored and where it's stored will dictate how long it can last. Also, you might have pre-treated it with bleach to shock the water. If it's stored for a long period of time, it might go slightly off and stale. But there's a whole host of ways to deal with water. Yeah.
Here's a book.
There's books on it.
the Prepper's Water Survival Guide, Harvest, Treat, and Store Your Most Vital Resource. I'm sure Miss Worm could put a link up, one of her links for that book. It's on Amazon. It's quite cheap. I also have made a PDF based off a lot of the information in here and other books about water as well on the UKPN website. So yeah, water's a huge rabbit hole, but hopefully that answered your question there. Top Yorkshire man. Thank you very much. The Sofa Survivalist. By the way, just because I noticed a couple of questions being repeated in the chat. If you've asked a question, I've probably starred it. Don't have to repeat the question unless I say that's the end of the questions and you've not heard yours. Just have a bit of patience. We've got 206 people in here. We're getting through them as quickly as we can. Sofa Survivalist, should I stock up on freeze-dried water? Yes, as long as you've got plenty of water to rehydrate the freeze-dried water with. That's the key there. The Sofa Survivalist.
And it can be quite heavy, so watch your shelving.
Yeah. Anyone's not seen the Sofa Survivalist channel yet, you want to see some great content from Mark and from the mind of Scottish Prepper helping out as well alongside. There's some great shorts on there. It's a bit of a light-hearted take on prepping, so make sure you go and check out that channel as well. Sab the Seeker, our friend Sab. Hope you're doing well, Sab. We'll have to catch up soon, definitely. I honestly don't think most people truly prepared for what's coming to the UK. Economic collapse is imminent. I mean, yeah, it's a popular belief. I don't feel like it's a sudden collapse. I feel like we're just getting there. We're just slowly getting there. He followed that up with a question. How many people here actually live off grid already? And how do you cope with it? I don't think any of us in this panel live off grid essentially. I think Brian's got the power set up to the point where if the grid goes off, he's going to be on his own grids technically.
I'd pretty much be okay.
Yeah, I've prepped based around 1860s onwards kind of tech to begin with. So I can live like it. I can survive it. I know what the harsh conditions are like. I've done it for a prolonged period of time at points. So yeah, none of us are off grid, Sab, but definitely it is a reality check for anybody that isn't. And it is my goal as well.
We'd like to be.
Yeah,
and it's mine as well.
Yeah, I'd like to get land. Anyone's got a spare parcel of land and they don't mind Mike squatting on it, please send me an email. Cheers, Sab. Good to see you. Mr. Wildebeest or Wildebeest, how long do you leave between stock takes of preps, John? With your 365 days of food?
Not yet. That's my aspiration. I thought I was there. Clearly not. No, I did a major stock. Well, I'm doing a major stock check now because I'm moving house, so I'm having to pack it all up. But what I am doing on every box is just putting a little tick to say that I've added it to the lovely database you kindly provided for us, Mike. I probably low-level stock check every couple of days because I'm changing something or checking something or finding something or rotating something out or in. So probably at a low level fairly regularly, maybe seriously, maybe once a year.
Yeah,
but I just have to move your house now, so it's convenient.
Yeah, it's part and parcel of doing that, right? Brian, you've got your whiteboard there behind you as well. How often do you look at your stock and do a kind of a full audit of it?
3 months. So every 3 months, I will spend a day doing. It's taking longer than a day now. I used to do it in a day. On the cans, I'll take all the cans out one at a time, give them a clean with a clean duster, shake them, agitate the cans, then put them back in again, and I'll check the cans versus against the whiteboard that the numbers are accurate and they're all stored with the dates written on them facing forward. At the same time, I'll do the power banks. I'll discharge and charge them if I've not already done so. That's pretty much it. And at the same time, if I've not done it the month prior, I'll run the generator, and in the 6 month mark, I will empty the water tanks out and refresh them.
Yeah. Cool. So you've got kind of a fixed schedule for that kind of thing then, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't ever take stock, Mr. Wildebeest. If I'm going to be completely honest, I would just look in thinking that bit looks a bit empty. I'll stick some stuff in there. When I've moved, I've got a bit more organized. Soon, I'm going to be even more organized. I'm waiting to see what's going on with this house before I do extra work and stuff. But I want to improve the can storage kind of thing and make that a whole thing. Regards stock take, like John mentioned, I created a Google Sheets document that works out your calories per. You can input your calories per day, so it's because it's different for everyone. Everyone's saying you must have 2,000 calories a day. It depends on the person completely. So you can input your calories per day. You can input all your food, and it'll tell you how many days you've got. So I had to do a stock take to complete that list. Now that it's done, I think I will base my annual checks on the use by dates on there. Once a percentage of them go red, I will then do a whole stock thing similar to Brian, agitate the cans and stuff like that. I turn my water and rotate my water quite regular, the bottled stored water, to keep that agitated as well. So again, different schools of thought. Some people say you don't need to. I do. It is what it is. But yeah, that's kind of I'm on a wing and a prayer with my stock take when time allows. The Sofa Survivalist, are freeze-dried cat treats fit for human consumption? Come back in 2 weeks and I'll give you the answer. Thank you, Mark. Always appreciate your input. I did email you, Mark, before this to try and get you on for this. So, not sure my messages are getting through. Anyone see this?
That's yes. Old. That's half an hour ago.
It's because it has a question mark. It gets highlighted for me.
Okay.
Why would any of you consider, or do you have a camper van as a bug out option? We'll come to you last, Brian. Would I consider it? Yes, most definitely, especially considering bugging out is a great option. It's all down to price and money for me. When I get to 1 million subscribers, won't be an issue, so make sure you share the video. John, camper van?
Yeah, I've previously owned 2 camper vans, a VWT2 and then a VWT4. So I am a big fan of the camper van. If I could afford a camper van, I would have one right now. It is in the plan for sort of the next 5 to 10 years, so we can travel around Europe on extended holidays. So yeah, absolutely would have a camper van. I know it has some limitations. You've got to have fuel for it. So in true shit, it's the van. It's probably going to be limiting you to getting out of a really dangerous situation. But then you still, it is still a little self-contained house. If you can park it in a forest somewhere and cover it up and disguise it, it's
it's definitely gives you a lot more options on the table, right? Brian, you spent all the grandkids' inheritance, didn't you?
That's what the sticker says. That's what the sticker says. When the big sea hit, 3 months before they shut the world down, I had bought a Citroen Relay. It was just going on 4 years old at the time, before the price of vans went bananas. It actually made $4,000 just sitting on a driveway before I even get time to work on it. That's how crazy the prices were at the time. And I spent 1.5 years building it. And that was 4 years ago, finished it. So, yeah, we use it a lot. From a prepping point of view, it's got its own water storage. It's got underslung wastewater, freshwater tanks. It's all insulated. It's got a heater. It's got hot and cold running water, toilet, solar panels, battery charger, mains charger. Like Mike said, it could be a little lifeboat.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably never ever use it for bugging out unless I really had to. My house had caught fire or something. I would probably use it as a secondary charging system for charging batteries and different things, or somebody to stay in if they were stuck. But I'd be worried about being caught on the road and leaving all my stuff here, because I'd never get everything in it. Yeah. That's the reality.
Yeah. So I think we're all big fans. It all depends on people's budgets. Prep to your means, by all means, but it's definitely it's an awesome extra to have. Same with a boat. I'd love to have a boat because that would cover the same sort of basis. So.
I'd love to do a boat.
Yeah, same. Big thank you to Bruce Hockley for a £2 super chat. Water Bob for the bath, bottled water, and 4 means to purify. 100%. One of those 4 means can be, boiling, purification tablets, bleach. There's loads of options. Again, I refer to the water book and PDF. There's loads of options in there. But thank you for your input there, Bruce. It's really appreciated alongside the super chat.
I highly recommend a water bob as well. I've got one in the airing cupboard next to the bathroom, so you can literally just whip it out and fill it up. It gives you that extra layer of protection to stop all the cat hairs and other things falling in it.
Yeah. I don't bath my cats, so it's fine.
What?
So many jokes spring to mind right now, and I'm just not going to go there.
Moving swiftly on. Indy Scott Bryan, long time friend of the channel from over Brian's side there as well. UK and Europe seriously looking for alternative payment methods independent from US monopoly Visa and MasterCard giants. Look at details under a microscope when they announce alternatives. We certainly will, I'm sure. Yeah. What's the alternative? I know. A centralized digital currency. That's a good idea, right? We're all on board for that.
Which have all been bought up by the hedge funds, so it's not a rebellious alternative currency at all now, because all the hedge funds have bought it.
There you go. It's a lot of crap. Just buy food and water. Water purification tablets from Silver Moon, before or after filtering through a Sawyer mini squeeze, and is it worth running through a household filter like a Brita? I have no storage for water. Okay, so this is all personal trial and error. Where's your water source? How clean is your initial water source? Where are you getting it from? I drank water from the Manchester shipping canal. Don't do that. I used a reverse osmosis machine, and it's probably the best way to completely clean something that terrible. Okay. It's an expensive option. For me, you can over purify as well. If you've got a Sawyer, I would put it through the Sawyer and I would boil it. That would be my 2 options right there. I've got the purification tablets. It's an underrated prep because they're so cheap, especially like the military ones. Go to any surplus store or anything like that. You'll grab handfuls for next to nothing. They're great for on the go, and they're great for just in case if there's some real nasties in there. If you've never used them before, get a clean glass of water, put one in, let it dissolve, taste it, and know what it tastes like, because it does change the taste. Because in SHTF, you might taste it and you'll be like, oh, this water's still bad. And it's not. It's the taste of the purification tablet. So, yeah, it's an assessment kind of where the water source is from and what I would do. But my number one thing for any water source is boil it. Boil it is one of the best things you can do. It's not 100%. Nothing's 100%. So that's up to you. What's your process, Brian, for filtering, would you say?
I mean, the purification tablets are always going to be last, and depending what other filtration methods you've got, they're always going to be the last resort for me.
Because they taste,
they taste like shit. They just that, and depending what you've got available is going to dictate the answer to this. You might have something as rudimentary as like a couple of socks, and you're trying to strain horrible, nasty water through it, so you don't clog up your primary filtration method, because people have got to remember that as well. Yeah, you might have like a lifesaver jerry can or a life straw or something. That doesn't mean to say you just put it into the most horrible toxic shit you can find and try it. You'll clog it up in short order. You may well have to pre-order it with like a bit of pre-filter it with something like a bit of Hessian or a sock or something. Or gravel traps.
Buy Shamags.
Yeah.
They're so cheap. They're a multi-tool. They're a medical aid. They are also an awesome pre-filter for water. Just throwing that out there.
And I think that's a fair point. It's not just a one-stop solution, because different filters will filter different elements or pathogens that could cause you problems. So it's probably worth doing a fireside just on water, mate. But it sounds it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of water questions. We'll consider that as next week's topic. So hopefully, John, anything to add on water? Do you have a process for that?
I've all of those that are mentioned in the question. I've used Puritabs extensively in my military career, and you're absolutely right. I agree with you. It does change the taste.
You can mask that with plenty of screech powder, though.
Screech, yeah, orange screech, yeah. But what is good is because it's such a distinctive taste, is it's worked. Again, following up on your Shimag sort of pre and Brian's pre-filtering, that's absolutely essential. If it looks like a dirty water, a top tip. Aldi, Lidl, wherever, Tesco, even you can buy this sort of 6-pack of funnels, just for £1 or whatever it is. Just throw those in your water purification box or whatever you've got, because it makes it a lot easier to filter the water into the bottles when you want to, or into whatever you're containing in. And then what's household bitter filter works better than nothing. So yeah, put it through that and then boil it. So
yeah,
just what you've said, really.
Yeah, and make that as easy as you can as well. I've recently done a video, just a little short on the water things outside, and I've put a net over them, so the water it's catching is already filtering out a lot of the big bits. Bird poop might leak through, but it's filtering out a lot of the big bits and the stuff that blows around. You could do the same in a water butt. You could easily put a layer with like a Shimag as a layer. As the water comes through, it would filter through slower, but it would give you an extra thing of filter. So hopefully that answered. And if it's not answered your question, make sure you tuned in and got all the notifications turned on, because we'll do a fireside just on water. Whiskey Jack J, if fuel supply chains collapse long term, what's your sustainable 12-month plan beyond stored diesel and generators? 12 months. It's a big timeline, that. John?
So my sustainable 12-month plan, I assume it's for electricity power generation. As I said before, I've got 4 100-watt panels on my shed. I've got a spare one. Not that they break, but you never know. Stone might get thrown at one of them or something. I've also just bought for like literally £18 a little dynamo generator that's got a little lithium-ion battery on it and 2 USB ports. So I could literally just go for a bike ride and charge up a couple of small devices whilst I'm cycling if I had to, or get a little rack and just cycle it whilst I'm not watching the telly.
Yeah, it'd be good to hook one of those up to the pedals that you can put in front of the couch and just sit there and
Well, what I liked about it is the Dynamo has got a little lithium-ion battery with 2 USB ports attached to it. So I quite like that.
Finally got a use for my 300 kids.
Get them on there. Apart from that, I'd be going back to the 18th century. I'd be using candles and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of my plan. When it comes to long term, I've got, like I say, I can't recommend them anchors enough. I know it's not the bee's knees, it's not the really big power banks and stuff like that, but on a budget, they're superb.
There's nothing wrong with it, mate.
Yeah, they're on a budget, they're superb, and I do believe it would taken care of. It would definitely last the 12 months. But I'm very similar to John, where I've done American Civil War reenacting for a good 10 years in my life, and that's living without any power, and it was before mobile phones, so it's not like we're going back to tents and having all the technology. It was living like that for weekends at a time and weeks at a time on campaigns. So it's kind of a way I've looked at my prepping, and I think that's my long-term plan, and it always has been, because even if I had all the power banks in the world, I still think no matter how long that clock is, it's still a clock that's ticking down, because if the power bank explodes, I'm not going to start welding and repairing it and putting new circuit boards in. So at some point, I'd have to revert to that. So, Brian?
Geography dictates and budget dictates how long you could last. 12-month plan, I would be fine. So domestically, there's 8 kilowatts of solar on the roof. Domestically, there's 22 kilowatts kilowatt hours batteries in the home. The workshop alone's got 1.5 kilowatts on the roof, and there's about 10 kilowatts of power banks. Generator for backup. Now, the thing is, it depends what your needs are. How you've got to have a wish list for what you want to power, and then you're going to have essentials. Because if you've got a protracted grid down situation like that, your resources are going to have to be rationed, and that includes power. Now, if you've got enough solar panels and capacity during the summer months, you can save your fuel, you can save your candles, you can use an induction hob. Anything that's finite, like say that burns, so fuel, candles, gas, anything like that, all that shit you shouldn't be using for about 2/3 of the year if you've got enough solar and battery to get you through that time period. In the winter months, then unfortunately, when solar decreases, you're going to have to start using generators if you've got them to get you through. But you've got to do it smart. You wouldn't run a generator for 12 hours a day just to run a TV or a couple of lights, because you'll still use 75% of the fuel to do the same job as if you were powering the whole house anyway. So what you would be better doing is the power bank that you bought for the summertime, charge that when it's noisy during the day, and then at night time when it's quiet and there's less ambient noise and sound travels, you've spent an hour or 2 hours charging with the generator runtime rather than 12 hours to run the lights. So your power bank's charged, you get that through the evening with that, and you would call it buffer charging, and that's how you would get through the winter months. So it's just about using your resources smart.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I think covered. Yep. What's this? Okay. Oh, is that the dynamo thing?
Yeah.
That's cool.
20 quid.
That looks like exercise. That's the old ones you used to get against the tyre of the wheels.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Mike's sending me some of his kids.
Yeah.
The centipedes have arrived.
So
to cycle the dynamo.
Thank you, Whiskey Jack, for your questions. I've just put a thing in the chat. If we can, no more questions now, guys. I'll have to cut you off. We've got more to get through. We're still going to get through what's on the list, but we're going to end up going till midnight if people carry on. So we do appreciate all the questions, but we stay tuned for the ones that are still in here.
Great questions.
One from Phil. Brian likes the 1990 rule for collapse. How do you suggest joining the 10% club? I love the 10% club. It sounds like we're all like. Yeah, I mean the 1990 rule for collapse. Brian, do you just want to quickly explain that for anyone that's not heard that phrase?
So that basically means that in a grid down situation, in my humble opinion, 90% of the people, right, would be dead in 90 days. Because of lack of power, human predation, sanitation, lack of water. And I genuinely don't think I'd be far off in that. I really don't, when you see the reliance on it. How to get, do you want somebody else to answer the 10% now I've done that, or do you want me to keep going?
No, carry on. Yeah, carry on. We'll all have a little bash in that.
The 10% club is going to boil down to geography, finances, and skill set. If you're in a city centre, you don't want to be there, right? So Mike's plan in that situation for 1990 to be in the 10%, his best option is going to be, if it looks that bad, is to get the fuck out, right? Because it'll turn into a charnel house, Manchester.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody that's more rural, their best option would be to stay put and gather everybody around about them that's got enough skills to help them get through. Because the 10% that are left will be competing for a lot more resources that are available, right? You're not 90% competing in those 90 days will be horrific. The 10% that get through is essentially the wheat that's been separated from the chaff. To do that is going to boil down to, like I say, geography, skill set, and money.
Yeah. John, do you want to add anything to that one?
Yeah, well, I think anyone watching tonight and anyone who watches similar channels obviously has an interest in what we do. So you're already on the way to joining the 10% club. Also, situational awareness, knowing when to bug out if you have to, not sitting there going, oh, my house is burning down and there's people trying to, hit me with sticks. I'll be all right because my plan is to bug in. So you got to have that option to bug out if you need to. Yeah, just situation, common sense and situational awareness. Don't start doing stupid stuff if the NHS has collapsed, because a lot of people will die from cutting their own leg off with a chainsaw or falling from a height because they're trying to
Mike,
fix something. Yeah, Mike.
I love your faith you have in me.
I'm not sure Mike will make the 10% club, to be honest.
Can't
even leave you with a naked flame, Mike. Apparently,
I'm perfectly safe. It's fine. It's
you
cheap
can't leave him
effect
with naked
that
anything, the amount of kids he's got.
Oh, well, you know, when you two are a part of the 90, I'll have the last laugh. Anyway, what I would say for the 10% club is knowledge and community. Everything else is a bonus. The amount of stuff you can stock is going to help you through that 90 days, which is going to be super difficult, right? And it's keeping yourself away from any sort of threat, avoiding any sort of threat, not arming yourself thinking you're Rambo with a 20-pound bow or something like that. It's avoiding any sort of threat. It's avoiding any sort of conflict. Strength in numbers with community, and knowledge is power. That's all I'd say. And also, it's a great name that I'm going to change the members of my YouTube channel. The top tier membership now is going to be called the 10% Club. I love it. Thank you for the question, Phil. I think that's a great question. Silver Moon said, how are you collecting your rainwater? I think it was to DS, but we'll answer it anyway because it came up as the questions. As I said, I've got water butts and the barrels that are just free catching. So yeah, that's me for now. John, you mentioned you've got water butts as well.
Yeah, I got 4 water butts in a row, which feed off the roof of my greenhouse. So the gutter downpipe feeds directly into the first one. I've connected tubing 2/3 of the way down, so they all self-level. And then I've got a brown bin that you get to put garden waste in. Council gave me one of those brand new, so that I made that into another sort of water butt on the other shed. So just rainwater collection off slope surfaces basically is how I collect my rainwater.
Yeah. Brian?
I do not do rainwater collection at the moment. I have set up to do it. So all I need to do is actually take the blanked off hose from the guttering and put it into barrels. So I've got 3 55-gallon waters. I cannot speak tonight. Honest to God, I've got 3 55-gallon barrels of fresh water. Should I have to deplete them, then I can take one of them, take a plug out and put the hose in, and that will harvest rainwater into that empty container. I just don't have enough space at the moment for any more barrels.
But the plan's in place to do it, which is good, which is half the battle. So yeah, I know you were asking somebody else, but appreciate that. Can you store too much water? Says Top Yorkshireman. My answer would be no. It's probably it's our lifeblood at the end of the day. But the caveat to that would be not at the detriment to food preps and security. Yeah. So if all you've got is water, you're going to have to do a lot of trading. So it's all about moderation. I don't think there's not much to add on that, gentlemen. Is there anything? No, we're all quite happy with plenty
within
of water.
reason. Yeah, if you can't get into your bed because of the crates of water, you've probably gone a bit too far.
Yeah, yeah. Moderation is key. Mike, what are your plans for growing your own food this year? Have you had a chance to look into anything? Yes. I've got a metal tin behind me here that you can see down there, which is currently a seed bank, which has just got packeted seeds in and stuff like that. So the experiments start soon when I get outside in the weather. And when money allows it, I'll be building my raised planters. So like with a lot of things, it's finance dependent and time dependent, but my plans are going completely gun-ho and try it. Multiple plant beds and pots with different things in, see what grows well, see what doesn't, and trial and error. So yeah, pretty much, and get as green fingers as possible before I end up on land. I don't want to be learning this the day I manage to get hold of some land. So thank you for the question. Mark's e-bike packing adventures. Where do you see your preps in 3 years? Brian's are on eBay. John, where do you see your preps in 3 years?
I would like, obviously cost is a factor. I would like to have a permanent solar installation with a big Tesla battery on the side of my house in the new house. I would like to have more freeze-dried food, but I don't buy it out of principle because it's so expensive. So I
Leave
don't
it with
see
me.
I don't see I don't see a massive change in my preps in the next 3 years, apart from sort of from learned experience refining what I keep and what equipment I have. I try very hard to avoid the gadgety things, but I'm very tempted every time I see one. But
Of course. You're the reason I make the top 10 videos.
I help myself by having a list on my phone of what I actually need, not what I want.
Yeah, everyone loves to have a list that they can ignore and just buy what they want. Brian,
make every pound count.
Yes, definitely. Brian, where do you see your preps in 3 years' time?
This might be a controversial answer. I don't know where we'll be in the world in 3 years' time, the way things are going. And I don't mean that to sound scaremongery or to upset anybody, but the way things are going all over the world at the moment, I couldn't possibly think where my preps will be in 3 years' time. For all I know, I could have used them all 2 years before then, or currently be using them at that point. So, all things being equal, I'll continue to add to them as normal. But I seriously would struggle to answer that, because the way things are going, I'm not convinced I won't have to use them in some way, shape, or form for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah. Great answer. My answer would be, I'd like to be on land, I'd like to be off grid, I'd like to be self-sufficient. But the same as Brian, I feel like that's beyond my control, but we shall see. But thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. We're getting to the end, guys. Don't worry, we're getting to the end.
So good.
What new skills would you guys like to learn next? Well, gardening for me, it's I know the principles, I know the fundamentals. I've grown flowers and the very basic herbs on my windowsill, but yeah, that's because that's the plan at the moment. That's what I'll be learning as much as I possibly can about agriculture technically. So yeah, that's for me. Brian, skills?
This year I'm definitely going to do the FREC 3 course. So hopefully around about July, August, depending on which classes have got space available. But yeah, that's a definite this year to do the FREC 3.
Yeah, I'd if money allows it, I'd like to join you on that as well.
Well, there's a few people had asked in Discord. Next month probably I'll start looking in earnest at dates, and I'll get some prices and I'll stick it down, and if there's enough people interested, we can maybe get a few of us on it.
Yeah, definitely, that'd be awesome. John, skills?
Yeah, I don't know much about simple electronics. So if I had a piece of equipment that broke just because something simple broke, I'd like to be able to fix it. So electronics, and also just because it interests me, I'd like to do a butchery course, basic butchery course, so I can, I know how to gut a fish. I did that since I was 7. I could have a good go at butchering a rabbit. But anything more than that, I'd like to have the skills, even if I don't use them, just to be able to do something like that.
To not waste it, to not waste that
and not spoil it, because I know that with large game, even with a rabbit, if you cock up the first incision, you've got intestines all over the place, contaminating the food, contaminating the raw meat.
By going on an actual course and stuff like that, maybe also speak to Alan, the world survivalist. It's something he's done. So it's worth having a conversation with him as well. I want to try and get somebody to do some demonstrations at one of the meets. Would have to warn people that potentially they might be deeply offended by it, but we could have it in a separate area. Bruce Hockley says, question, how much fire protection do you have? I have fire extinguishers upstairs and downstairs, plus 2 more in the garage, plus a fire blanket. 2 full-size extinguishers, a fire blanket, and I need to replace the small extinguisher that was in the car. So not because there was a fire, just because it's gone. When I checked it, it's well past its date, and it's one thing that I don't want to risk past its date. So, yeah, that's what I've got. Brian, fire safety.
Fire blankets, fire extinguishers, but the biggest problem I've got is our bedroom is above basically a plant room in our house that's got 22 kilowatt hours of lithium batteries. Well, like
There's no
before
putting
batteries.
them fires out. There is no putting them fires out.
No. So unless it's a standard domestic fire, anything I've got in the house won't put any of that out. I've got nothing that would do it. How the best way to put this? There's other stuff stored near that would also go bang, and I wouldn't want to be in. Our bedroom's in the worst place, right? If there's a fire in that room, I ain't getting out. Right? There's no point, and probably
Brian
neither is
stocks
most
a
of the
lot of
block.
party poppers for New Year's, by the way, just so everyone knows. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to look at that more seriously. I think there is options now, encasement options, but it is a hole in my preps.
Do you have, I assume you have sufficient warning systems in place should a fire start
Yes.
in that room that you can hear and get out before you turn into the remnants of a claymore?
Yeah, I would like to hope I get out quick enough, but
yeah,
it's a trade-off. I mean, what you keep at home, hoping it'll never go wrong, or you never keep it at all. So it's a trade-off.
Like people storing fuel, anything like that. It's all, it's risk versus reward. Right?
Best endeavours, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. John?
My wife's just put in the chat, now you tell me.
That's going to be an interesting bedtime conversation for you, Brian.
Yeah. Can hardly wait.
Yeah, so similar to Bruce Hockley 9360, really, I got one of those multi carbon monoxide heat and smoke detectors on the chimney breast, because you have to have one by law if you've got an open fire or a wood burning stove. But I also have one in the hallway leading up the stairs. I have one at the top of the stairs. I have one outside my bedroom. So, and they're all linked. 10-year batteries. They all set each other off. I've also, standard stuff really. I've got a fire extinguisher and a fire blanket in the kitchen, and I've got a fire extinguisher in the front room near the open fire. I don't have one in my garage, which is a good idea actually. Put one in my garage because that's where I store my fuel.
There you go. That's what we do this for, so people get little ideas that may help them out. I will mention on fire safety, though, it's an often overlooked thing. It's something, again, normalcy bias that the fire brigade will always come and stuff like that. When we talk about grid down, when we talk about especially things like CMEs and things like that, that has the potential to cause a lot of house fires. So please take your fire safety seriously, not just yours, but your neighbors, especially if you're attached to them, are a potential threat. I'm not saying you have to go and buy all your neighbors' fire extinguishers, but it's something to be very aware of, in that you could be the most fire safe person in the world. If that fire is spreading down your block, you're not going to stop it. All right. So just something to keep in mind. This list seems to go on. I did cut off the questions, so I hope you're all right for time, guys.
All good.
Question: have you noticed an increase in preppers as more and more issues around the world are coming to head? Yeah, about 12,600 in the last year. And funnily enough, that's the same number as people subscribe to my channel. So yeah, I think I've seen, I mean, it's nothing to a lot of preppers, especially to American channels and stuff like that. But how big my channel has gone in a year was beyond whatever I thought it would do. it's not down to my awesome good looks and charismatic delivery. I'm sure
No, it isn't.
it's
It isn't, mate. It's really not.
Definitely not.
You could pause before you objected to that, gentlemen. You could give it a bit of thought.
Still no.
Still no. But the interest is there. And we constantly have people joining the Discord. We constantly have people emailing us. I'm sure you have the same, Brian. And John, in your work life, I'm sure you're seeing a lot more interest in this. And yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, it's a bad thing, all the crap that's happening in the world, but it's a good thing if it forces us to be a little more resilient without the need to use all of our preps. John, I just want to ask you to add to this one, because I think mine and Brian's answer would be pretty much the same on that. But you obviously have a different insight into that and have, more authorities and what their thoughts are. Are they concentrating more on this now?
Yeah, well, at the government level, there is certainly a renewed, or not renewed, probably a new interest in resilience at both a critical national infrastructure level, at a local authority level, and at a personal level. There are definitely discussions at the moment about what advice to issue. For some reason, at the political level, there still seems to be this reluctance to issue firm guidance. It's all, you might want to think about keeping something for a few days. Whereas if you look over the sea to Europe, Norway, Sweden, Poland, Germany, Switzerland, and virtually every European country has effectively ordered their citizens to become preppers by putting leaflets through their doors. Some are 2 sides of A4, some are 35 pages long. The Polish one is what to do if Russian soldiers knock on your door. Be passive, don't look them in the eye, follow orders, all this sort of thing. So some people are becoming preppers because they noticed what's happening around the world. Some are being told to become preppers.
Stock vodka. Yeah, thank you, Wishful Bumblebee. I think we all have seen an increase. It's not something, I'm happy for the kind of semi-success and popularity of my channel, but also, on the other hand, it's horrible that it's taking these things to make people that way. And to be honest, most of the people coming through now have lived through the big C times, as Brian called it, and they've been through this, and instantly, within weeks after the last lockdown was lifted, have gone back to normalcy bias of everything's fine, back to just in time. So for every 2-3 preppers that join our channels, join the community, join the Discord, there's 2,000 or 3,000 that are just going meh. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts. Matthew 626 says, other than EcoFlow Delta Pro 3 and the Blue Yeti Apex 300, are there any other solar generators that can both run split phase 240 volt and charge with 120 volt at the same time? I may as well have read that in Spanish. So do you want to answer that, Brian?
I heard
me and John's just going, ooh, candles.
Our friend is across the pond in America. That's an American version of the power banks. So theirs are 120 that they can double up to 240. Ours are only 230, right? So we don't have split phases in ours. So it's a different market, unfortunately. So I know for a fact that's American power banks. The EcoFlow versions and the Blue Yetis and everything else, they're generally 120 with the bigger banks that you can double up to like 230.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, our power banks are different.
Yeah. Maybe go and check out one of the reliable American prepping channels like Mike Tango Whiskey, people like that.
I can kind of answer it.
And they might have a bit more insight. Go ahead.
If you look at the Anchor, the F300 or F3000, I think it is, the big one on the wheels, it's the one that's comparable with the EcoFlow Delta Pro. That's what you want to be looking at. I know for a fact that does what you're asking, but that's more centric towards America. Ours work differently, but if you check out the Anchor one, that will do what you're asking.
Excellent. Well, hopefully that does help a little bit, but like I say, We've got loads of friends of the channel that are over the pond that have their own channels, so please check them out. You can meet a lot of them on Saturday nights on Shadow Scout Swedes Live. A lot of them come on there, so definitely somebody will be able to help you out with that.
Do you know a good channel for them for anything like that is the Solar Lab on YouTube. They are truly excellent, and it is an American channel, and they review all power banks. The Solar Lab, yes, they're fantastic.
Excellent. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. Anyone plugged into local community resilience network or training? Looked into it, looked useless, decided to create the UK Prepper Network. And now our zones are really becoming quite active with people that are proactive in them. I've just had a zone meet with the people in my zone, and we're putting together maps, plans, and stuff like that. So it's kind of making our own resilience network in that way. But John, what's in place, and should people check it out?
Yeah, my experiences on in England and Wales they're called LRPs, LRFs, local resilience forums, and in Scotland they're called LRPs, local resilience partnerships. I don't think we're talking about the same thing here. The thing I'm talking about is government agencies sending reps to respond to a specific major incident or crisis. Does this refer to local communities? Is that basically volunteers walking around with helmets on and first aid kits?
Potentially, or training. I assume it's that kind of thing. There's like what you found one the other day, Brian, didn't you? I can't remember what it was called. It was
so there's ones in Scotland, but it's basically paper organisations with nothing in it. Nobody's going to give you any training and things for us, was what I found. But there was one that was based in England that they had volunteers up here that was publicly run by volunteers. And when you actually looked into it, it was a couple of people with a Land Rover that had got via charity donations and stuff. And I'm not belittling it, but in the time that had been running, there was virtually nothing there. You've done more on Discord in a year than they'd done. Yeah, it was pointless. Until the government step up and put pounds, shilling and pence in place and have paid coordinators and paid trainers to filter that down to us, that you can say, right, come along to your West of Scotland resilience meeting and we're going to do some first aid training for the 30 volunteers we've got, or we're going to do other courses on water filtration or dealing with a mass casualty event. There's nothing that I'm aware of. I could be wrong, John.
Yeah, so you have just prompted, pricked my memory there. There are two organisations I know of. One is the 4x4 Club. That's basically a group of volunteers who have 4x4 vehicles in times of crisis, flooding, snow, that sort of thing. They volunteer via the LRPs and LRFs. They are tasked by the LRPs and LRFs to take the midwife to a pregnant lady who's cut off in the Yorkshire Dales, whatever, take some insulin to a child who's cut off by a flood water, this sort of thing. So that's one way to get into a local sort of resilience community. The other one, much more formal, every NHS health board runs a first responder scheme. You're a volunteer, basically half a paramedic is the best way, effectively you get trained up. It's a 1 week course, and then you get paired with someone more experienced, and you're a volunteer first responder, and you will serve in your local community. You'll be on call whenever you want, and you get called out to deal with mostly heart attacks, but you can be called out to other stuff as well. You're in uniform. You're formally inducted and trained by the health authority, and you will assist the emergency services with medical emergencies.
Great touch point for training on that.
Excellent touch point for training. Yeah, it is a 1 week full 5-day course, but you do have to commit to volunteer to.
I looked at the one in Scotland on that.
Yeah.
Because I know you'd mentioned it before, and it was basically, we're not looking for anybody at the moment, was what I got.
Maybe in your area, because I know on the Western Isles, because I was the first responder in the Western Isles, we just can't get enough people because they haven't got enough ambulances. So you do have to accept that you're probably filling a capability gap for the Scottish Ambulance Service, especially in Scotland.
Yeah.
But you get
yeah.
some excellent training out of it.
So hopefully that helped. The Discord by no means was me, what I've achieved in a year. I just created a space. The 400 active members are what make it what it is today. And that's all it's been about. So it's down to you guys, definitely not to me. Tony says, I thought of this the other day. My car's bug out / emergency bag doesn't have toiletries, something I should fix. But on your bug out emergency bags, how much toiletries do you pack? So old school, I've got a bar of soap in mine. I feel like shower gels are just asking to be splits, to be dropped, to be banged, to leak everywhere. So bar of soap, toothbrush, and a couple of little travel-sized toothpastes kind of thing. That's about it. At no point am I going living in the wilderness for extended periods of time with this bag. It's to get out and get to a safer place. I don't need to stop and have a full shower, grooming kit, shave, and all a lot. So it's essentials, right? And whatever you decide to put in there, just make sure it's practical and make sure it's essential. Constantly, hygiene is very important. If it's a complete collapse, we said that the 1990 hygiene is going to take out a lot of people. All right. But it depends what your plan is. If your plan is to go and live in the wilderness, I'm not disrespecting that. Please make sure you've done it a lot to train. But you're not going to have an ever-ending supply of toiletries and stuff like that. So again, start looking at alternates to soap and charcoal and things like that for your teeth, etc. So mine's super basic: bar of soap, toothbrush, and what I need to get to a good location. John, do you have toiletries in emergency bags?
Yeah, in my bug out bag, I keep toothpaste and toothbrush. As you're probably aware as well, Mike, when you're having a shit day, just clean your teeth is such a morale boost. When you're wet and cold, just clean your teeth really just gives you that boost that you need. Apart from the obvious oral hygiene, I keep wet wipes and I keep a bar of soap wrapped in a flannel in my bug out bag. In my car kit, I just keep wet wipes, nothing else, because as you say, my car kit is intended to get me from my car to a place of safety. I'm not going to try and live in the woods in it. So that's it.
Yeah. Brian?
More or less same as John. So a washcloth with some carbolic soap, old school styly soap from like the 80s that you'll never remember because you're a bit younger than us, only slightly. Wrapped up and that toothbrush, toothpaste, and wet wipes.
Wet wipes is something as well. If you do put in your bag, they're great. Don't get me wrong. They dry out. They dry out in the field. They dry out in storage and stuff like that. So one good thing that came from Roger, Rogue Roger Combat, he comes to a lot of the meets. He's a great guy to meet, and he's a full font of knowledge. Was an extra washcloth, not for your face, but for your number twos. So
good point.
Yeah, so it's just something to think about. If you do have wet wipes, there's nothing wrong with them. Just make sure it's something you stay on top of and you check regular. The last thing you want is to have a useless pack of wet wipes when you're caught short. So there you go. Hope that helped, Tony. TAC group, do any of you participate in outside activities to improve your skill set, like map reading, bushcraft, etc.? I do a lot of my own stuff. I joined I did some archery. I joined a local archery place to do some stuff there. It's something I need to do more of, but I'm a learn by doing, kind of throwing yourself in the deep end. I know what I'll do. I'm completely unhealthy. I'll hike 90 miles with a bug out bag. That's my kind of attitude to things. It's trial and error, but I do want to do more of these things. Lee at the bug out store, if you go onto his website for the bug out, they do lots of courses, and a lot of them are run by a good friend of mine called Tom, the Prepared Pathfinder. He's got a YouTube channel. It's great. Go and check that out. And what you can learn in 2 or 3 days there would probably take me a year of throwing myself in the deep end to try and learn. So if you can, then definitely do them. Do you guys take part in anything?
On you go, John.
Don't all speak at once.
Coast Guard. I volunteer in the Coast Guard, so I get regular training, first aid training, off-road driver training, water rescue training, all that sort of stuff. And I regularly get called out to real situations. Last week we rescued a poor old lady with dementia who was hypothermic, so we rescued her alive, which was a bonus. But
Brilliant.
regularly go out with, to get people who've broken their ankle, broken their hip, broken their leg, got a gash on the head, all that sort of stuff. Missing persons, so search map reading when you're doing missing person searches, that sort of stuff. So yeah, I intend to become a adult cadet officer for the Air Cadet Force when I move, because I was in the Air Force for 20 years. So I'll take that up again and sort of hopefully pass my skills on, but passing skills on also refreshes your skills as well. So
definitely use it or lose it with skills. Definitely.
Yeah.
Brian, do you often go out paragliding, bungee jumping, and survivaling in the woods?
It would need to be some size of parachute and a hell of a thick rope, mate.
They haven't invented it yet.
No. I think it's holding up the Forth Road Bridge. I kayak when I can. I camp when I can. I shoot when I can. Complementary hobbies for prepping, but things that I've always liked and done and enjoyed. So
I love
and drone flying's a new one.
Yeah, I love the bushcraft stuff, and a lot of it would be handy in certain situations. But like I say, it's about priorities and time. I don't plan to live in the wilderness, so knowing how to start a fire is always great. But how to build a shelter in the Arctic is not going to do me any favors, so anytime soon. So it's definitely something I want to get onto. But
see on that, and I know we've touched on this, and it's not belittling anybody at all. Everybody likes different things. I like to go camping, but I like to come home having a hot shower as well. Anybody can be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something to aspire to. I don't understand the rush to devolve overnight and run into the woods and live like a hobbit. I don't understand that. I don't understand why you would give up hundreds of years of mechanical advantage to devolve and run about chopping firewood. If you have got the skills to maintain the tech that you have, which makes your life easier to do other things when shit's gone bad, I do not understand and never will why you would throw all that away. It's fucking stupid.
There you go. Prep smart, not hard. There we go. That's the catchphrase. Cool. The sofa survivalist, a legit question this time. He highlights that point. If the banks fail and you have no access to finances, how long could you last? As long as my food stores with any disaster, because technically all you need to survive is the water, food, shelter, warmth, etc., the core of prepping. If you're talking literally just finances, I have a little bit of silver, a little bit of copper, which is obviously not worth much at the moment, but it's a future hedge, and a bit of cash on hand. I'm got the classic change bottle, which, don't get me wrong, does get poured into the supermarket change machine every so often because it needs to be. But yeah, other than that, it's just based around my preps, what I've got in my cupboard, because at the end of the day, everything I spend money on is not essential in a real disaster. So I'm not going to be, chomping at the bit to pay my council tax if the power's been out for 6 months. So as long as I've got the food, the water, the essentials, that's what matters, and that's how long I can technically last based on what I've got there. Brian, banks fail, no money?
The premise of the question tends to hint that we're in a shit hits the fan situation for everybody then. So in my mind, you're on the 90 and 90 straight away. So I'd be trying to be the 10%. Comfortably, food-wise, would be okay for about 7 months, which I hope to push out to a year. That's 7 months for immediate and some extended family. And there's a whole host of things that could change that overnight that we've got no control over. So that's best case scenario. Water and power, functionally, couple of years.
Cool. John?
Yeah, I now know quite accurately that I've got about 8 months worth of food, so that I'm going to try and extend that to 12 months, because it doesn't matter where it occurs in the year. I've got time to get into the food growing cycle, and I've got a large seed bank, so I have the skills to grow stuff. So that, in that sense, I think I don't need more than a year. Finances wise, a bit like yourself, Mike, I've got a little bit of silver. I got a little bit of cash, but that would be that I would have to focus on getting something that I needed immediately.
Yeah, definitely.
Before it disappeared.
Before it becomes useless.
Silver. I saw a lot of chat in silver earlier. One of your viewers said that they didn't see the point of silver. I personally think that if I had a silver coin and I needed a one-off, maybe a journey somewhere or some antibiotics or something, I could leverage that silver rather than giving away my wedding ring or pulling a gold tooth out of my mother-in-law or something. So I see a limited use for a small amount of silver.
Yeah, mine is like a very small amount, and it's in the small. It's not even in the ounce coins. It's in the 1/8 kind of coins kind of thing, and it sits in a back section of my wallet, and it can just be like you say, if you're bugging out or if you're getting home, it potentially leverage that way. So, hope that helps. Hope that answers your question there, Mark. 2 more questions and a comment. Are shamags just cotton, or you can just use any cotton t-shirt? Yeah, you can definitely use a cotton t-shirt, something like that. I'm going to grab mine. Do you want to just fill them in a bit on shamags there, John? I'm sure you know all about them.
Yeah, shamag is basically a sort of a meter by meter, usually camouflage, either temperate camouflage, sort of greens and browns and blacks, or desert camouflage, oranges and browns, and it's usually got tassels on the side, and you can make, oh, there we go, exhibit A coming out, there you go, that one happens to be black and white. You can wear it in a various ways. You can wear it as headdress, you can wear it as a face mask. You're on mute, Mike.
It's green and white. It's
green and
white.
Green
and
black.
sorry.
Green, right. You can use it on your, if you know what you're doing, you can wear it as a headdress and have it as shoulder cover to keep the sun off your shoulders. And but it's useful for all sorts of things. It's useful. You can make it into a little carrier. Just get a stick and tie all 4 corners together. You can carry stuff in it.
Yep.
Yeah, you can hobo sack, that's it. You can use it for filtering water. You can use it for all sorts. In a pillow, if you want to, fold it up. Oh, what you're showing us here, Mike?
You can use it. You can get one of these out for a length.
Yeah,
you can use it for kindling. You can use a length of this because you can slowly take it out for a length, and you can use that to sew and repair as well. Because these lengths go, you can see it pulling up. It goes the length of it, so you can use it for repairs as well.
And the most important feature of these things is that they are cheap.
Yeah.
So you can buy 2 or 3.
Yeah,
no problem at all.
Honestly, they are cheap as chips. They're not worth not having. I've used this as a sling in an emergency as well. I've used it as I've used it literally as something to grab to stop bleeding very quickly before I could get hold of anything else. Used it as a head cover in the heat. I've used it as cooling in the heat by dropping it in a river, pulling it up, wrapping it around my head that way. There's a million uses. I've done a video on it, and there's multiple videos online. So although you could just use a cotton t-shirt, it's not worth not having. You'll get 3 of these for the same price as a decent cotton t-shirt. All right. So yeah, just go and check them out. Anyway, I'm not even going to post you a link because they're so cheap. I wouldn't even get anything commission wise. So
just a quick point there. If you are in an emergency situation and you are only wearing a cotton t-shirt, just rip one of the sleeves off. Your cotton t-shirt is more useful as a keep maintaining warmth than it is by taking it off and using it as a water filter. So just rip one of the sleeves off your t-shirt and use that to filter the water rather than the whole t-shirt.
Yeah. But like I said, the other thing as well, in this day and age, and there's too much stock put in. Oh, grey man, I must look like John the businessman to blend in. You see people wearing these all the time as fashions, as just a scarf and stuff like that. I can wear this with any other clothes and I don't stand out a mile. Nobody thinks, oh my God, look at him, he's a commando. And you can get them in bright pink if you wanted, for example. It's just worth having, to be fair. So hopefully that helps and answers. Sab said Mike should get me on podcast and I can share my knowledge with y'all via Discord. Maybe I've been living like this for a year now and the stuff I've learned is really good. Sab, there's an open invite to the Prepper Podcast, mate. Just chuck me an email, message me on Discord, we'll get you on there. You know, I'd love to talk through all of that with you. It'll be awesome. Honest question, who do you trade with? How many? I know this was addressed to someone else, but it came up as a question. Who do you trade with? How many people need silver really in SHTF situation? Can you utilize silver at all? I don't think it's worth the investment, to be very honest. Silver for me is, like we just said, it's leverage in short term, something like that. If you're stockpiling it in larger amounts, it is a wealth preservation prep. Okay, let's imagine it's financial collapse, but all the systems are still working. The power's still on. The emergency service is still running. It's just the value of the pound is going like, you know, £300 for a loaf of bread. It's kind of leveraging that, and it's a form of wealth preservation. Silver also has healing properties. It also has sterilization properties. There is lots of things. I would stock silver over gold, but that's my personal choice because I see more practical uses of it. Would be my answer. That's the last question. So any additions on silver?
I don't even stock it, mate.
Nope.
And I never have. I don't keep any precious metals. The only metal I stock is lead.
for your roof, of course.
For fishing.
For fishing, all right. Yeah, lead weights. Cool. That's the end of our questions because we've hit the 2-hour mark, guys. I know there was plenty more questions wanted to come in. We enjoy doing the Q&As, so we will definitely do more of these, and you guys get more out of it. We get stuff out of it. I've made loads of notes that's going to help me improve my preps as well. 178 people stayed here for 2 hours. Brian, tell them about your channel quickly if they're watching on mine.
My channel tends to cover power related issues, mitigating power outages, predominantly with solar, power banks, domestic, mobile, and current event news that have happened, freeze-dried food, and general prepping.
Mm-hmm. And if you go over to Brian's channel and you do choose to become a member, which he doesn't ask you for, so I'll ask for him. If you do choose to become a member, he puts that all back into the channel in the form of buying kit to review and then to give it away to his channel members, which is absolutely awesome. So he's giving a lot back to the community that way. So if you choose to go and join there, it's like £1, I think, the lowest thing. Yeah, there you go. It's well worth it. Mine's more expensive and I won't give it you back. So I'll just be honest. Mine's keeping the lights on. But
this one is a Kelly kettle, I think. I'm sure that's the giveaway.
Which is an awesome giveaway. So good chance to get in there. Better odds than the lottery, that's a cert. I'll be in for that one, hopefully. My channel, if you're watching on Brian's, is all about everybody else. I'll show you my preps. I'll make mistakes. It's all about being honest. It's all about seeing my failures as well as my successes, which they enjoy to mock me about, obviously. But there's no point sugarcoating everything. If I didn't show you anything that went wrong, you'd think I was the perfect prepper, but it would be a lie to us both, and none of us would learn anything. And it's about bringing the community together. It's about meeting new preppers, people with different knowledge sets, getting people like John on board and getting him in front of you guys so you can ask him questions and tap into that knowledge which you wouldn't have usually had. So that's what my channel's all about, and all my links
and charities,
all my videos and charities. Yes, I've got the charity event. I'll start plugging that soon. I'm reluctant to plug it anytime soon because I'm psyching myself up for the potential waxing that's going to come. But if you donate to me through PayPal and note it for charity, it will go towards the charity fund. And also there is a Just Giving page as well, which is linked on most of my videos. John, you don't get away with this little segment. Can you tell us, as a new prepper coming into the Discord, the benefits you found from the Discord?
First of all, the just being able to chat with like-minded individuals. linking up one-to-one with yourself and a few others as well. The prepper zones, I think I'm going to be on zone 3, so I'm looking forward to meeting up with some of those guys there. And just a wealth of information. As I say, electronics is my weak point, so just being able to read through all the mesh-tastic stuff is really useful.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Discord is the place to be. It's great. It's probably the most, I'm part of many Discord groups, and it's the most active one. It's the one that keeps my phone buzzing constantly and the eye rolling of the missus. So it's a very active group. Come and get involved. You won't be disappointed in that. Don't forget to big shout out to our moderators on both my channel and Brian's channel. Purple Ale, Miss Worm, Mel, Telda Boy. I don't know if Rift's in here, but Rift, John, C. There's loads, but you're all awesome. Thank you very much. Miss Worm is our chief mod who keeps everyone in check, including the moderators, and she has her own channel, which is all cool, ghost stories and things like that. Nice little break from prepping. Nice little,
she's an author.
And she's an author. She's got a book which Brian highly recommends, and we've all read, and it's wonderful. But don't ask us questions. But it is really, it's really good. We love her to bits. She does so much for us, and she does so much for the Discord behind the scenes, and doesn't get any credit for it. So please take the time to at least go and check out her channel at Miss Worm, and give that a subscribe and check out some of the content. So with that said, Brian, final thoughts on tonight's multitude of topics and goodbyes?
I enjoy doing the Q&As because it keeps you honest and active, and you generally learn things because you'll answer questions and I don't know the answer, so it's good. And especially because tonight with nothing prepped, and people generally respond well to the Q&As, even if it's repetitive somewhere, it's good to be reminded. So thank you.
Excellent. John, any final thoughts and goodbyes for this evening?
No, just keep skilling up and keep assessing your risks so you know what you need to prep for yourself. Prepping is individual to you and your circumstances.
Excellent. No final thoughts from me. All the links to support are in all our different videos and stuff like that. The moderators are absolutely awesome, and they're also our moderators over on the Discord as well. So there's a font of knowledge way beyond us three over on the Discord. So thank you to Miss Worm, Evil Girl, and everyone who's done the moderating tonight, and we will see you all in the next one really soon. Goodbye.
Take care, guys.
In the glow of embers dance, we've prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue. Prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue.
I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian, and so's my wife! Right, take him away and release him. No, I'm only joking. I'm not really Brian.